Meeting with Dr. Raven, after I knew that I was pregnant, I really felt very close to her and felt very comfortable being as vulnerable as pregnant women need to be. She was like very supportive and validating as I was like asking all of my questions. She would always say, do you have any other questions? After I'd gone through my list, and I would say, I think that's everything. And she would look at me and pause. And it was that moment of calm, that acknowledgement of me as a person that I feel like is such a strength.
One of the things that's really important to me when I'm seeing a patient is that they feel heard, and that I really listen to what their concerns and their questions are so that we can address those within the context of whatever else is going on medically.
So I found out I was pregnant in December and found out that there were some anomalies right away. Did some further genetic testing and everything seemed fine. But in my third trimester, Dr. Raven recommended that I do like a non-stress test throughout the third trimester. By August 6th, I went for my non-stress test the week that Dr. Raven was out of town. And she'd already told me, like, I'm gonna be out of town this window of time for my vacation with my family. Okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. I'll not having the baby early, nothing's gonna happen. Go in for the non-stress test. And I wasn't feeling so great. Take my blood pressure and it's through the roof. So they sent me over to St. Mary's. I'm in the hospital for 3 days.
During that pregnancy, she did end up with pre-eclampsia, and it was preterm. She had elevated blood pressure in the mid-third trimester, and so we did have to admit her early, and she did have to deliver the baby early.
Friday morning, they want to break my water because it hasn't happened yet. Things are still not progressing how we want them to. We were reaching that marker of 12 hours after the water had been broken, and I remembered some arbitrary thing like if you get to 12 hours, they're gonna have to do a C-section or something like that. One of my friends had a C-section and had to work really hard with her doctor to allow her to try a vaginal birth with the second one. I feel very lucky that I have a partner who helped me to advocate for not going that route if we could avoid it. Within like 10 minutes of the epidural, she slips right down. She was so tiny. They lifted her up and they held her in front of me, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at her. She's a little wrinkled old white man. And I'm so excited to like get to know her. And they were worried about her because she was so small. So they were gonna, immediately take her to the NICU. I said, but I wanna do skin to skin. Like I really wanted that. And the doctor, she made everybody stop and she said, she gets to hold her baby for a few minutes before we take her. And so they put her right on me, and there's that moment, like that overwhelming moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't get to carry you around anymore. You're not with me like you could be somewhere else that I'm not. We knew right away we were planning on having a second child, and everything was so different throughout the entire pregnancy. One, he was just that much bigger. When Fox was born, I think I had a little bit more awareness. It wasn't so meta, it wasn't so rushed. It was like looking at him and being like, oh my gosh, look at this beautiful, like huge baby. Like he looks so healthy, he looks so happy already. And being able to see him and to be with him for longer. I think we got a whole hour in the recovery where we were just skin to skin. It's important not only to have a knowledgeable doctor, but it's also really important to have a doctor that you connect with, a system that you feel like you can trust. And I feel like I felt that way all the way through with both of my pregnancies. A lot of my friends, they had their babies in different places, and I would never think of leaving SLU. If I got pregnant again, I know I'd be calling Dr. Raven and saying, here I go.